I am doing outstanding. Had a had a motorhome trip, my first motorhome trip last week, and didn't do too much damage. It was quite entertaining, a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm excited about outstanding balance because it's something that in dentistry is can be can be very difficult, and so I think we can talk about that today and give our listeners some ideas about how to balance their lives. And one of the things that I'd like to talk about is this pillars of success. And when we talk about pillars of success, there's many pillars of success, and I'm going to look at a couple, and then next week we'll do a couple more. But the one that I primarily like to start out with is, what is your philosophy of care? I mean, what is it? It's absolutely important that you actually have a philosophy of care. Some dentists that I work with, they really love the thought process of, I want to help everybody. I want to do Medicare. I want to help socioeconomically people in difficult area, and that's honorable. That's great. Others say, I want to do high tech, high touch. I want to have a high technology office. I want to really be able to communicate with my patients. I don't want a high volume. Others have a philosophy of care that is, I really just want to do bread and butter dentistry. That's my goal. I just want to do bread and butter dentistry. Others say, I want to do full mouth rehabs, or I want to do just implant dentistry, or I want to do just veneers, or I want to do just certain things. But it's important for you to really have a deeper philosophy of care. And let me share a little bit about what that means. It's how do you communicate with your patients? Yes, you need to know, and it's extremely important to know what type of practice you want to have, because then you can do what I call authentic marketing. You can market to the type practice that you are. If you were a high-end practice that was doing full mouth rehabs, you're not going to want to market, for instance, in the newspaper for just new patients. That makes no sense. Whereas if you're bread and butter, that may make sense. And I know most of you I get emails all day long, and on LinkedIn, do you need 20 new patients? Do you need 50 new patients? Just call me, reach out to me. That's perfect if those are the type patients that you're looking for. But your philosophy of care goes deeper than just the type of dentistry that you produce or the type of dentistry that you enjoy. It also comes down to what I call an integrity issue. An example might be, early on in my career, I was not a very good boss. I had a philosophy of care. I wanted to do comprehensive dentistry, but I was not a good boss. And I was stressed. I was high stressed. And the reason I was so stressed was because I didn't understand my business. And that's a whole nother topic that we'll talk about in the future. But I didn't understand my business. And when I didn't understand my business, that was high stress. And I came to work in a very stressful condition. One month we'd do good, the next week we'd do bad, the next, so it was always up and down, up and down. In fact, I did a 5-part series in dental economics that was literally about the dental roller coaster. And that's not really where you want to be. I mean, you may enjoy the thrills, but boy, it's when you're down and up and down, that's not a good way of practicing. So I was not the best boss. Going to Mark Costas, he and I are good buds. He calls it being a boss hole, and I was a premium boss hole. I can tell you straight up, my team didn't like me. I joke, I'm in a small town, Granbury, Texas, and I joke because I tell people that every single person that lives in Granbury used to work for me, and they quit. So when I came, God has a sense of humor, because he gave me 4 daughters and I had to learn to speak a different language. I had to learn to be kinder and gentler. But I wasn't able to do that until I understood my business. And again, we're going to talk about that in the future. But I really want this philosophy of care to drive home the kind of practice that you want to have, and the kind of practice that will allow you to have family balance and allow you to have all the things that you'd love to have. So for me, I would come in, they had a smiley face and a frowny face in the break room. And I always wondered what that was. And it was actually me. If I came in a bad mood, they put the frowny face up. If I came in a good mood, they put the smiley face up. And I was like, gosh, that's horrible. But even from the very beginning, when I started my practice, let's just say my assistant, we were doing dentistry, and I said, we're finishing, I'm visiting with the patient. And I was outside of the practice, I was a different person. I was very nice, and I've got a kind of an outgoing personality, so I talk to people. But in the practice, I was just not that way. Talking to patients, I was, but talking to team, I wasn't. And the team would say, Dr. Baird, let's just say I had down for a crown and a buildup, and I didn't have to do a buildup. My team would say, Dr. Baird, did you want me to put down a buildup on this? And I said, no, we didn't do a buildup. And there were even a few times where just because the crown buildup were on there, on the treatment plan, and I didn't do a buildup, which I do 90% of the time, but all of a sudden somebody, she put in, or my team put in, that I did the crown and buildup, but I really didn't do the buildup. I would say, no, we didn't do it. So that's that integrity issue, because with integrity, nothing else matters. And without integrity, nothing else matters. So if you don't have integrity, it's something that it's going to be extremely difficult for you to have the type of business, the type of practice, the type of team that you really want to have. So it's so important. Even when you're so tempted, integrity is like what you do when no one's watching. But doing the right thing for patients, doing the right thing for team. These are the kind of things that are foundational pillars for success. Because if you don't do them, you're fighting this uphill swimming against the river flow, and it is extremely difficult. So one of the things that I do is I make sure that I say I do what I say I'm going to do. And the team, even though they didn't like me very much, they still appreciated the integrity of the way we treated the patients. And then as I became a kinder, gentler Bruce, I think that they started to realize what were some of the things that had caused me so much issues. And as I became better and learned more about leadership, so some of you have been in practice for a long time, some of you are just starting out. What I'll say is, it really depends on where you are in practice. But if I had a chance to do it over again and was just starting out, the first thing I would do is I would learn everything I can about my business, how it runs, the economics, profit and loss statements, and all those types of things, which we will be talking about in this program over the next 20 to 30 to 40 or 50 weeks, however long people want to listen and keep tuning in. But again, now going to what are the important things? The important things for me were, step one, what is my philosophy of care? And it really comes down to, I think, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When I'm talking to patients, I assess their needs, and I assess what kind of problems they have. And we teach at Productive Dentist Academy, we teach a specific way of doing the exams using risk factors. And we go through the process of risk factors. Does the patient have periodontal risk? Do they have functional risk? Do they have aesthetic risk? Do they have erosion and decay risk? These are the things that I want to find out about the patient as I'm going through the process and getting to know them. And do I walk in? When I first walked in my practice, I was always like, how can I help you? But that changed drastically over a few years. It became, how long have you lived in Granbury? Or in other words, I want to know about you as a person. It's important for me to not only care about you, but for you to know that I care about you. And so I will ask questions, and I really truly want to know the answers to those questions because I want to work on my friends. And so as that began happening, and as I talked about it on one of the podcasts I did recently, that, you know, when production numbers go down, you may have a consultant say, well, you need to talk to your hygiene, you need to do more diagnosis, you need to do this. The truth is, you just need to ask yourself the question, because most issues in dental practices aren't your team. They really aren't. We've seen that. We've worked with thousands of practices over the last 25 years. Most of it has to do with us, the doc, and how we lead, and what are our leadership skills. And that's what I've studied. I love studying dentistry, but I also love studying leadership skills because it makes your life easier. It makes everything easier when you're doing that. So, and what's important is having a team that's behind you, and that's team engagement. That's another pillar to success. And if you don't have team engagement, that's different than your patient engagement. But if you don't have team engagement, like I told you, at first I was a lousy boss. As I got my business in order, and as I had daughters, and as I started to learn to speak a different language, pretty soon this team that I didn't even know, I knew they had a few kids. I know where they worked before. We used to joke, I didn't even know their name until they'd been there for 3 years because I figured they'd leave and I didn't want to waste all those brain cells. But, you know, now I started to ask questions of my team, just like I was asking questions of my patients. You know, well, you grew up here in Granbury. Now, did you go to high school? Yes. And so did so-and-so. Oh, well, now, you know, your husband, kids, and we'd have our Christmas parties. And all of a sudden, the entire operation started to become a family. And hopefully you guys don't go through that the way I did. But that stress that when you first start out is extremely important. We had one of my team members, I remember, and this was probably 7 years into my practice. She'd been working with me for 5 years, and her son was in a four-wheeler accident. And he was in a coma in the hospital. And she came in, I heard about it. I went to the hospital. My wife and I were there and just said, okay. And I didn't say, you don't have to come to work. I didn't say that because I knew she wouldn't come to work. But Monday morning, this happened on a Friday, Monday morning, she was at work. And I said, what are you doing here? She said, well, I have to work. I have to. I said, you get your butt back to the hospital and you stay with him. I don't care how long it is. I'm going to pay your salary just as if you're here. Our team will all get together and we'll pick up the slack, but don't you worry about it. That's, again, an integrity issue. I was still kind of a boss hole, but I knew that that's what I would want somebody to do for me if I was in that situation. So team engagement, how do we engage our team? I was always very good at rolling my eyes, going, I've never been an instrument thrower. Some dentists, they get all upset and they go nuts. I've never been one of those. I would sigh a lot. I would go, okay, well, we don't need a mirror, obviously, for an exam. You might get an Explorer while you're at it. That would be my sarcastic, way of aggressive behavior, passive aggressiveness. I was very good at that. But yet when something like that happened, they started to see who I really was. And as the practice began getting better and better, then my engagement with the team became better and better. So that two tidbits, one, engaging your patients, having that philosophy of care that you're going to market to that philosophy. One of the things that, and the second thing is the engagement with your team. So it really is, we talk about at Productive Dentist Academy all the time, and I know at Compassionate Finance, we talk about it. It's engaging. It's engaging and it's relationship driven. Everything we do in our business is relationship driven. And you want to think from a different perspective. And it's hard when you're under pressure, but you want to think from the perspective of your team member, or you want to think of the perspective of your patient. And if you can actually do that, you're going to bypass a lot of the crap that I went through and a lot of the unproductive time that I went through. And what we find is when dentists are able to solve those issues, they're literally able to not just increase their productivity by $100 an hour or $200 an hour. The average dentist produces about $425 an hour, which is $3,200 a day. You're able to increase your productivity to $500 an hour, $800 an hour, $1,000 an hour. Why? Because you have a team that's a 1,000,000% committed to you and your patients and their patients, because they look at this like it is a family affair, and they know that you're not going to skimp on materials. You're always going to stay up to the latest and greatest of what's going on with dentistry. Your integrity will not take advantage of a patient. And at some point, I have dentist friends now, and when I say dentist friends, young dentists, a year, 2 years, or 3 years in practice, that are following just beautiful. They're taking care of their team. They're taking care of their patients. They're just following what I didn't know. And to watch their success magnifies the issues that I had early on. So I share that with you because I'm not afraid to share it with you. For the last, 5-6 years, our production in our office has been, way up there. But it's not something that I look at. I look at more relationships, better understanding of my team, better understanding of my patients equals higher productivity. You'll have some consultants say, oh, you just need to diagnose this and diagnose that and take crown opportunities and all of these different things. That's not the issue. That's not the issue. So hopefully this has been, we're about 17, 18 minutes into this. I would love to have questions. Stephen, I don't know if we've had any questions up to this point, or if you have any questions that you've fielded in the past that might be a good thing to talk about.
No, but I love your approach, because is that business model approach of like having a mission statement, having maybe a constitution that guides the practice, some words of wisdom, so you don't end up like that doctor in Alaska who's extracting teeth on a hoverboard. You have,
yeah. 12 years in jail. That'll make you think twice about pulling a tooth on a hoverboard. So
Exactly. So yeah, there are right things and wrong things to do. And as you say, you build the trust and you build the relationships, people will say yes to dentistry much easier. And another way to get them to say yes to the dentistry a little bit more easier is to provide affordable payments like Compassionate Finance. We will go ahead and send you a link over to some information about Compassionate Finance. But I do want to turn, if anybody does have a question for Dr. Baird, go ahead and put one down there in the Q&A.
You bet. And another thing I'll share with everybody that's on the webinar and the ones that are going to watch it, Productive Dentist Academy is actually doing a foundations course that I think registration ends tomorrow night. And we're excited about it. It talks about a lot of the things that we're talking about, but you also get to take it to the next level. Not only is there about an hour of homework each week. It's a 10-week course. You have about an hour of homework, but then on Thursday nights, you actually get to share information among your peers, which I didn't know how that was really going to work. we're used to doing in-person seminars, and I'm getting used to getting to shake people's hands. And but what we found was these dentists in our last course that we just finished a couple of weeks ago, they're now become best friends. And now they're through, you have your own area on our site that just you get to share information. It's totally not recorded. It's totally confidential. And my brother was part of the last course. And one of my best friends who actually, Ernest Robertson, who is in New York City. He's in Harlem. Ernie was the first one to come through Productive Dentist Academy 16 years ago, but he went through the foundation course, and guess what? He just said he's totally re-energized and he's totally excited. So he's taken the next step and now is taking a business success course. So we're just here to try to help you where you are, whether you're a brand new practitioner, whether you're in practice for 40 years like myself. There are things that can grease the skids. There are things that can make things faster. You can get success faster. And you can also, which success is in the eye of the beholder, but you can also reduce stress faster. You can actually get to a place where you're joyous and you're having fun faster. So those are the things that I think make a difference in balance, outstanding balance. And that's really the title of our webinar series. It's Outstanding Balance. And it's really hard when you're way out of whack, one direction or the other. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please, you can send me to Bruce at productivedentist.com. You can send to Stephen at compassionatefinance.com. You can send us questions or anything else. We'll add them to next week's webinar. We're going to do it later because I'm going to help a friend in Florida who had surgery. So we're going to do it about 6 o'clock Central Time, or not about, but you'll hear it. We're going to do it at 6 o'clock. And let's do that. And we'll go from there. Stephen,
yeah, perfect. We do have a question that came in, and this is great because I think they're interested in that business impact course. So they want to know is, hey, will you get to kind of maybe craft your own practice philosophy during this business impact course?
Well, as a matter of fact, you not only do that, you clarify your philosophy. So even docs, we had 3 docs in our last course. We limited it to 30. But we had 3 doctors in our last course who were not even open yet. And they asked, would it be important for me to do this? Or should I do this? Or should I just wait to go to a productive dentist, main meeting that we do, what we call our productivity workshop? And we don't know when we're going to have another one yet. It'll be next year. And we told them to go ahead and do it. But they have absolutely gone nuts because now you are establishing not only your philosophy of care, and you get to hear other docs and you get to solidify that. But the other thing that I found really interesting, you end up with not only a marketing plan for your business, but you end up with a 2-year business plan complete so that you know where you're going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. Most dentists, unfortunately, don't ever look at their own business, or they don't really concentrate on their own business. They're always worried about the dentist down the street, and they're always going to CE. But as far as the business, you don't take that time to really evaluate your business. Well, this course takes an hour of homework a week and an hour at night on a Thursday night to share. And then what you're going to find is you're going to have buddies that you're talking to, kind of like you went to the course and you sat at the cocktail party. And you're going to be sharing information back and forth. I have been absolutely amazed at how neat it is to see people relate like this on a darn webinar, but they get to meet people that they probably wouldn't have met even at the course, because we put you in private rooms with 4 or 5 people at a time, and you have little groups, and so you get to really ask questions. Well, what did you do? What did you do? You may have 2 or 3 people that are in the same boat as you, but you'll also have access to our coaches. You know, we have 35 employees at Productive Dentist. We have an entire marketing team. So all those folks will be on. And so it's just an open forum for you. But it also requires participation. You know, if you have an interest and you want to participate. You know, if you just want to listen, it's not really for the, what's the word? It's not really for the lurkers, because it really is going to be more of a course where you get a chance. And at first, it's a little uncomfortable that first week. By week 2, you start seeing personalities. By week 4, people are best friends. And I've been amazed by it. Been totally amazed.
That's perfect. And you talk about even newcomers. I mean, a lot of this stuff foundational. Foundation goes first. So get it, establish good habits from the get-go. Or if you're ready to kind of tear up the blueprint and start a new foundation, this is great for you as well. Yeah. And I have a discount code for you. So I will send that in the email as well, so you can save $500 off of that PDA workshop course.
I think what we'll do is give them one that'll even allow them $700 off. Woo. So I know. And I bet you Reagan Robertson can send you a little private message, and we'll put it on the podcast or on the webinar. You can register. It is actually 20. You go to productivedentist.com and then put 2020 impact. You put 2020 impact down, you'll get $700 off registration. And I think you'll enjoy the heck out of it. We're going to have fun. Again, we're going to have fun, and we're going to be doing these 8-week courses. I think we're going to start another one the first of the year, and we're going to keep doing them because of the response and because of the people that really need this opportunity to work on their business. And another shout out to my good friend Mark Costas, who just did his 1,000th episode. I'm on my 80th episode. I can't even imagine 1,000 episodes now. But Mark, shout out to you, buddy. So any other questions that we have? Are we good?
No, but I know why you gave that extra $200 off today, because of the numbers 40 and 39. Dr. Baird, what did you think of the end of that Cowboys game?
Oh my gosh. I know there are probably some fans here that are not going to like that score, but oh my gosh, I was somewhere ready to turn off the TV. I was watching the U.S. Open on my phone, golf, and I was watching the football game. And I live in Texas, so I'm a Cowboy fan. So it was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. And I'm sure Atlanta is just sick right now from what happened. So anyway, it's all good, folks. Look forward to next week. It'll be 6:00 Central Time next week. I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about. We're going to go into some more pillars of success next week. We're going to be talking about a patient journey map, and we're going to be talking about some financial issues, some things that what I call predictive analytics. So we're going to talk a bit about that next week too. So look forward to next week. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Check your emails. You'll get a copy of this video, invites to next week, discounts on Abella, discounts on Compassionate Finance, a great discount on that business impact course. And yeah, we will see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time.